All right, welcome. Today we are going to be going over the thesis and dissertation processes. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so today we are going to cover the thesis and dissertation process in depth, and we are going to also discuss the milestones and forms you'll need along the way, review dates and deadlines, resources available to you during the process. Let's get started. So to start, you're going to explore your topic and methods. You will take a look at what has already been accomplished in your discipline. And your thesis or dissertation is going to be your intellectual contribution to the conversation in your field. You will read, analyze, and think about where you want to contribute. If you get stuck, consult faculty members in your field or your Milner Library subject librarian. And your Milner Library subject librarian is a wealth of knowledge. They can direct you to topics, sources. They can be your best friend if you let them. So definitely take advantage of that resource. And then you're going to compose a committee and name a chair. You will ask faculty members to serve on your committee. These faculty will be especially knowledgeable about research in your research and your topic and will guide the heart of your thesis or dissertation. You will typically work closest with your committee chair. These faculty must hold full or associate graduate status at ISU. The other members may be associate graduate faculty from inside or outside your department, or even from outside the university. External committee members must bring special expertise to your study. External members must have a terminal degree, usually that means just a doctorate, and be relevant to the topic of your research. If you are including external committee members, a brief rationale must be provided for each external member's inclusion on the committee, and their CV must be submitted with the proposal approval form. So with that, then you will be at the proposal stage of your research, and there are some compliance requirements that go along with this. So your proposal basically lays out your intended topic of research, identify its scope, and lay out your timeline. Research involving human subjects, live vertebrate animals, and biohazardous materials is overseen by the Institutional Review Board, IRB, the Institutional Animal Care and Use Committee, IACUC, and the Institutional Biosafety Committee, IBC, respectively. Any research of this nature may require the approval of the appropriate committee before you begin any data collection. Failure to receive the required approval may delay your research and even result in the inability to use data you've collected. So if you need to contact the Office of Research and Ethics Compliance, and your research falls under needing approval from any of those committees, their contact info is right there and also on our website. Then you will identify and seek permission to use copyrighted materials. You will review your proposal if you intend to use any materials such as surveys, scales, maps, images, etc., and seek permission before starting your research. The graduate school will provide you with a checklist of items to look for, and the university copyright officer will then help determine for which items you need to secure permissions for. As your research progresses, the materials you need to use may change. Always be vigilant and ensure that you are respecting the rights holders' legal ownership. When in doubt, if you're adding any materials that you think might require copyright permissions, make sure you modify your copyright checklist and contact copyright@ilstu.edu for any copyright permissions. You may have to pay a fee sometimes to use some copyrighted material, and sometimes copyrighted material may be unavailable, and you may have to adapt and find alternatives. It's best to know early, before you dive into your research, what materials will be available to you and what funding arrangements you may need to make. So then you will defend your proposal. You will meet with your committee and defend your proposal before them. You must be ready to defend that your research is original, you have surveyed relevant literature, you have fulfilled any compliance requirements, and your timeline for completion is adequate and realistic. After successfully defending your proposal, it's time to fill out the proposal approval form. This form will collect your research compliance information if needed, formally compose and establish your committee with the graduate school, verify that you have sought out any required copyright permissions. As your research continues, you may need to update sections of this form, and you may submit an updated form to the graduate school anytime before your defense. Forms such as the proposal approval form need to be fully completed upon submission, otherwise they will be denied and you will have to resubmit. This includes having all necessary signatures when turning the form into the graduate school. All forms need to be signed, whether physically or electronically, on the PDF form. We accept paper forms, but prefer electronic submissions to dissert@ilstu.edu. But if you are turning in a physical copy of the form, you can turn those into Hovey 208. If you are going through the process and you find you need to change your committee for whatever reason, you will submit a committee change form. You will fill this out and submit it to the graduate school, and you will need to outline members staying on your committee, who will be removed or added, and if any new additions will serve as chair or co-chair. If you are adding any external members to your committee, just like with the proposal approval form, you will need to submit a copy of this member's CV and a brief rationale as to why they make an appropriate addition to your committee. Then you will obtain all appropriate signatures, including your department chair or graduate coordinator, and it's better to submit the CCF as soon as changes occur, but at the latest, submit any committee change forms before your right to defend, because no committee changes may occur after the right to defend has been issued. Then you will have tons of fun researching and writing. This is where you will work closest with your committee members, getting your content on paper, solidified, and all cleaned up. It's a super fun time. Then you will create a draft of your thesis or dissertation. Every discipline has its own style, and your committee will generally provide you with a precise guidance on the contents and style of your thesis and dissertation from the beginning. So before you begin to write, just check that list of style manuals selected by your department. If you have several choices, find out from your committee and just clarify which style manual they want you to follow and review it carefully. Make sure you follow your discipline's style guide along with the university formatting requirements. If you are researching and writing and you're going along, you've discovered that there's a conflict between the style manual and the university requirements, make sure you contact the graduate school immediately. So we do have some writing resources. We have the graduate school website and the graduate student RegiNet portal. We also have graduate writing fellows who offer one-on-one appointments for writing assistance. There's also the Center for Integrated Professional Development. They offer audio and text-based tutorials and in-person workshops on word processing. Milner Library Zotero can also help you set up a program to manage and format your citations and your bibliography. So after you get a full draft of your thesis or dissertation, you will need to set up a ProQuest account. We contract with ProQuest, which is a national electronic thesis or dissertation company, and it will make your work available to scholars around the world once you have completed it and it has been approved by the university. If for any reason you need to delay the release of your work to ProQuest, please visit our website and fill out an embargo form. The standard embargo is anywhere from 6 months to 2 years, but anything longer requires an exception from the director of the graduate school. So if you're requesting anything longer than 2 years, that's when you're going to go fill out that embargo form. Typically, the only reasons like people need embargoes are if they're getting parts of their work published in another academic journal or somewhere else, and the publisher is saying, hey, we don't want you to publish anywhere else until we publish her work. So those are typically the situations where an embargo is requested. Once you create your ProQuest account, submit a draft of your thesis or dissertation to ProQuest. There are instructions on our website on how to complete this process. So after you have your full draft, you're going to plan your defense. In keeping with academic tradition, defenses are typically public events, and they are advertised throughout the university, and anyone is welcome to attend. The culture differs by department, but most provide the details of the structure of their defense in their graduate handbook. Your graduate coordinator can answer any further questions on how you should prepare. And as you're planning your defense, you are going to be most likely in your final semester, so you will be prepping for graduation. And as you are in your final semester, you will need to file your degree audit and apply for graduation and apply for the completion of your degree or any certificates you may also be pursuing at the time. The degree audit form is usually filled out by or with your department chair, but each department is different, so consult your department about specific degree audit protocols. The degree audit form is submitted to grad.degree.audit@ilstu.edu, and you can email them with any additional questions about degree audits, credit hours, or graduation forms. If you plan to participate in commencement, you will also need to register for the ceremony and order any regalia. So then you will schedule your defense, and with this comes filing the right to defend form with the graduate school. You will schedule your defense to accommodate the availability of you and your committee members. Defenses may take place in person or virtually via Skype, Zoom, or any other platform. In order to defend your thesis, you must file a right to defend form with the graduate school prior to your defense. This will verify that you have filed a complete draft of your thesis or dissertation to ProQuest and that you have a full defensible document ready to go. If needed, you have updated your proposal approval form to reflect any changes to research and ethics compliance or copyright permissions. And also, if relevant, you have turned in a committee change form if the composition of your committee has changed since the proposal stage, because remember, no committee changes may occur after the right to defend has been issued. You must turn in the right to defend form at least 10 days before your planned defense date. Students must wait at least 7 business days after the approval of the right to defend form to hold their defense. And this deadline is a trickier one because it can creep up on you, and you have that time in between the approval and when you can hold your defense. So just pay special attention to the deadlines for the last date to hold your oral defense. And after your right to defend is approved, please send a defense announcement to the graduate school to notify them of your defense date and time so we can keep track of it. As you wait for your defense, after you get your right to defend approved, you may want to schedule an optional format check with the graduate school. This is a tool that is available to you in case you want to get ahead of the game in formatting. So if you want to take advantage of this, you can email dissert@ilstu.edu to schedule your optional format check. You don't need to be present during the optional format check, but you do need to reserve a time. Optional format checks are done on a first come, first served basis, and a limited number of reservations are available. No optional format checks will be scheduled after the oral defense deadline, as final reviews will have started. Due to time limitations, only one optional format check can be done per person prior to the submission of final deposit materials. If you choose to have an optional format check, your final copy will be checked for the corrections that are sent to you during the preliminary review. The optional format check will only identify elements of the thesis or dissertation that need to be changed to meet university requirements. For help with other areas outside formatting, you may want to contact the following resources. For grammar, spelling, writing style, or organization, you can see the graduate school website or contact one of the graduate writing fellows. For copyright permissions, you will need to contact the Milner Library Copyright Officer. For research approvals, your chairperson or the offices of IRB, IACUC, and IBC. For your dissertation or your discipline style manual, you can also talk to your chair and committee members, or you can consult Milner Library. So then you will hold your defense. In most defenses, the typical format is you summarize your research findings in a brief, usually 15 to 20-minute talk, and you answer questions first from the committee and then from the general audience. You are then invited to leave the room while committee members discuss the defense and are finally called back to hear the results. Committee members typically ask for revisions based on the points that come up during the defense. Then you will revise your thesis or dissertation as needed until it is accepted by your committee and meets all disciplinary and university requirements. Keep careful notes as your committee is giving you revisions, so you are clear on which are required by your committee and which are optional. You must complete all required changes and have them approved before you can submit your final copy to ProQuest. Once you have made all of these changes and have been approved by your committee, the committee members will sign off on your outcome of defense form. This form certifies to the graduate school that you have satisfactorily completed all requirements of the thesis and dissertation oral defense. You will also need to fill out and submit the final deposit checklist. And the final deposit checklist and the outcome of defense form, along with your final copy uploaded to ProQuest, is the nice little bow of your final deposit materials. You will need to submit all of these materials so we can add you to the queue for final format reviews. And when you are uploading your final copy to ProQuest, it is important that you do not make a new submission, that you update the current one that you had, that you uploaded before your defense. So after you passed your defense, if any formatting changes are required to the final draft, you will need to make them in time to meet the registrar's office deadlines for finalizing graduation. The graduate school reviews final deposits in the order we receive them, so it may take some time to hear back about your corrections. During this process, it is highly recommended that you check your ISU email daily until your thesis or dissertation has been finalized, just to make sure that you don't miss out on any important updates. Your graduation will be finalized once your thesis or dissertation is approved and all other graduate school requirements are met. If you are unable to make all corrections in time to meet the registrar's office deadlines, your graduation date will move to the next semester. The oral defense and final deposit deadlines are firm deadlines. There is no wiggle room on those. So if you miss those deadlines, you can still defend past the deadline, but you won't graduate until the next semester. If you have to push your graduation date back, you will need to maintain continuous enrollment until you graduate. If you have any logistical questions or concerns about moving your graduation date or about credit hours, you can contact grad.degree.audit@ilstu.edu. And with that, that is the process. Any questions? Yeah, Laura, did you have a question?
Yeah, I was just curious, the IRB approval, does that happen before you submit the proposal or after?
So Mindy?
So typically those two processes are going to happen kind of together. On the proposal approval form, it's going to ask you if you have submitted your paperwork to the IRB. We don't ask for the completion of that on the form. We just need to know that you are taking care of that. So you can get your PAF approved before you hear back from the IRB, but you need to have your materials submitted to the IRB at the time that you complete that form.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
In the chat. Yes, Shelley, we will be making those slides available to you. I will also go ahead and show you on the website too, but I want to take some questions first. We have another question. Seeing some raised hands. Yes, I believe the recording will also be available after this as well. Let's go around the website a little bit, just so you know where to find all of these resources. So if you go to grad.illinoisstate.edu, you will find the graduate school website. And for thesis and dissertation resources, this is going to be a wealth of information. So if you want specific forms, you will go to the Forms tab. And this has everything from the degree audit form, transfer credits, applying for graduation, and it has a tab for the thesis and dissertation forms as well. So you can find all of these forms accessible right here. And if you click on the thesis and dissertation help tab, this will take you to the thesis dissertation assistance page. Currently, we don't have drop-in hours, but I do aim to be as accessible as possible. So if you ever need anything and want to schedule a time to meet, I am more than willing to do that. So you can call me, email me, say, hey, can we meet? I absolutely will. So there's some formatting resources on here, and there's a nice little timeline on the process. I will make a note here where it says to contact Sarah Dick for copyright questions. She did retire last May, and we are in a search for a new copyright officer. So as of right now, with any copyright matters, you will email copyright@ilstu until we have that role solidly filled. Dallas Long, the Dean of Milner Library, is currently taking over that role, so he will get back to you on copyright matters. And here is the tab for review dates and deadlines. And you can just go through to August, December, all the way through December 2024. And it has all of those degree audits, grad application, and then it has the thesis and dissertation deadlines. I will note that, well, let's go to August 2023. These deadlines do come up quicker than you think, so I would keep tabs on this page, print it out, bookmark it, and then really just plan in your mind when you want to be done and then work backwards from there when you are charting out this process. And then we go to the writing tab, and we have all of these nifty how-to videos, how to set up a ProQuest account, the sections of the template file, overviews on settings in words, inserting landscape pages, figures, formatting tables, formatting your table of contents. And if you are using a traditional style like APA or MLA, we do have a template. It will be your best friend. If you are in a discipline that uses, like, say, Chicago style, the template does still work for you. You can use MLA or APA, and you can still adhere to your discipline style. The template is very, like, usable, accessible still around those styles. So we have a guide to using the template, and I can show you the template here really quick. So this is our template. It has the front matter pages all formatted for you. All you have to do is insert your information. It makes it a lot easier to format your document. I will say though, if you have not already started writing, definitely start writing in the template. If you have already started writing, not a problem. You can transfer your content into here. You will just have to do it piece by piece. You can't copy and paste your whole document into this template and expect the formatting to stay the same. You'll have to do your abstract page first and then go to like the title page and so on and so forth. You will have to compile it piece by piece within the template so the formatting stays as it should. And if you are using a journal format, most commonly this is going to be like biology, sometimes some psychology students. We have guidelines for formatting with a journal format. If you are using a journal format, we ask that you send us a copy of the journal that you are using, the journal style you are using, so we have it for reference. We have style manual and handbook guides. Those can also be found on Milner. There's the links to the source resources, bibliography resources through Milner. And then we have tabs for every milestone in the process. So we have the proposal stage tab that takes you through establishing your committee, and it has the graduate faculty members list here. So, oh my goodness. If you want to see what status the faculty members that you're intending to ask to serve on your committee have, you can look here and see if they're full or associate status. Another important note is if you have a retired faculty member that you want to serve on your committee, they have to be past the 60-day window. Because right after a faculty member retires, they can't do any work, anything university related for 60 days. So it needs to be at least 60 days before they can serve on your committee. And if you have an absolutely wacky committee and you want to throw that at us, go ahead. You can ask for an exception from the graduate school. And if you need any of the IRB, IACUC, or IBC approvals, you can find links to those processes here, and it will take you to the research and ethics page for the appropriate committee, and it can take you through submitting those processes. And then when you go to the defense tab, it'll take you to the submitting a draft to ProQuest steps. It'll take you through embargo policies. If you'd like to order a bound copy of your thesis or dissertation after you're done, you can do that through Milner here. It'll remind you if you need to make any committee changes or copyright checklist changes to do so by linking you to those forms. And it'll also take you through the format check processes if you would like to request an optional format check. It'll take you through revisions, guidelines, and also the final deposit submissions. So let's see, we have some questions on, oh, you couldn't see the template. Well, that's fun. So, okay, you found the template, Shelley? Amazing. So, I'm not sure why you couldn't see the Word document, but okay. Does anyone have any questions on the website? Does anyone need me to take them through anything again? Anyone? Bueller? All right. Well, I hope this sheds some light on the thesis and dissertation processes for you. And like I said, I aim to be as accessible as possible. So if you have any questions that come up after this and you think, oh, I wish I would have asked that, go ahead. Let me find my contact info on our website. You're so welcome. If anyone needs to contact me, there's my information. I hope you can see it. Don't hesitate to reach out with any questions, okay? Like I said, I aim to please. I'm always here. Call me, beat me if you want to reach me. Um, I'm here to make this less stressful for you because I was in your shoes once and I know how daunting it can be. So I'm here to make you not suffer. So, yeah. Okay. If no one has anything else, then have a good day and good luck.